Elon Musk has decided to implement a new CEO for Twitter. Now, if we go back in time when Elon Musk first bought Twitter, he had announced to everyone that he did not want to be the CEO long term. He was just there to get things going. He had to fire a bunch of people. He had to restructure the entire company so that he could form the company that he intends to make it, which is like a platform X where creators can create content. You can monetize the content. You can be there for payments, so it's like a middleman for payments, or actually you're removing the middleman for payments. You don't have to use banks, you can use Twitter. And then also an encrypted worldwide messaging and calling platform, so it's like an all-encompassing platform. Elon Musk akins it to WeChat, what they use in China. It's like an app that you can use it for everything. Now, Elon Musk has put in someone from the WEF, World Economic Forum. She was the executive chair, Linda Yesarino. This is very troubling to a lot of people. This is actually causing a lot of backlash. A lot of people are firing back at Elon, saying, how could you put someone here from the WEF? This is the antithesis of everything that you're standing for, everything that you've been advocating for us. And I will say, I've criticized Elon Musk about this before. He's not truly 100% for absolute free speech, even though he says he is, because he still hasn't let on certain people because he has an emotional reaction to certain perpetrated events that they may or may not have been involved in, right? So he's not 100% there, but at the surface, it looks like he's now created a platform, or at least had created access to a platform where people and businesses can congregate, and they don't have to fear being canceled or moved like they would be on all the other major platforms, all the other online big tech platforms. The question here is this someone, this Linda Yasarino, one, is she competent, right? That's a major thing. But the primary reason why he probably put her in is to run the day-to-day operations so that he could focus on being a CTO, which is he wants to be the chief technology officer. He wants to focus on technology and design, so really the back-end workings of Twitter to make it into Platform X, right? To turn it into that payment system, work on messaging, work on monetization for creators. Essentially, if you can move people off of these other platforms, there's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. There's so many platforms. Well, there's not so many, but there are a few major platforms out there that monetize content. He wants to bring that to Twitter in tandem with all the other things. He needs to focus on that. That's where the real money is going to be made. It's not so much about the money, but that's where the real justification for buying Twitter is coming from. If he bought Twitter and he didn't change anything to it, and there's no potential upgrades in the future to turn it into an ideal platform, it was a waste of over $40 billion. So Linda's coming in. She's going to run the day-to-day operations, hopefully keep everything smooth. That's what the presumption is on the surface. The question we all have is, why are you putting someone from the World Economic Forum there when historically, and even now, the World Economic Forum, she was an executive chair, okay? So this is someone who's at the top of the hierarchy when it comes to people running the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum, in general, these are the people who say, we want you to own nothing and you'll be happy. These are the people who are buying up assets, not only intangible assets like stocks, bonds, treasuries, all that, but tangible assets like properties, buildings. And they want to remove it from the people and then rent out or lease out the properties to you. So basically they own the asset. You're paying them, so you're dependent on them. This is the only way you can get access to your assets. They want to build out things like 15-minute cities. So pretty much people are confined to a certain area, certain square footage where you can access your work, you can go to the pharmacy, you can go to your grocery store, everything is confined, and you actually will potentially need permission to freely travel, even though that's against the Constitution. But the World Economic Forum is for the world, right? Not just the United States. So we have people who want to control labor and resources. That is their primary goal. And first they're starting off with purchasing assets and then renting it out back to you, controlling the pricing. Because if they own all the assets, they have a monopoly over the assets. And that's the goal. The labor and resources, how do we control it? And if Elon Musk is putting someone like that, who's part of that camp, into Twitter, well, you're deteriorating the brand of Twitter now because you initially purchased Twitter to go against all the other censorship platforms. So we have to, the question is she going to be there to run the day-to-day operations, keep things smooth? She's making an agreement with Elon Musk. Hey, yeah, I know I'm coming from this camp, but I'm going to come here. We're going to work out a deal. I'll get paid X amount of dollars. Or maybe she has a change of heart and she wants to actually, she actually cares about the advancement of society, a free and open society. She will come here, run the day-to-day operations, but Elon Musk is still controlling everything from the back end. Now, he still is controlling everything because he's the largest shareholder. But this could also be for another reason. What if, because it's not so simple when you're in business or politics or finance, it's not as simple as giving someone a direct action and they just follow your lead. Yes, there's a hierarchy to things, but we have to keep in mind that this world is ultimately political. What I mean by that is Elon Musk may have blackmail on Elon Musk, right? So the World Economic Forum and people from that ideology want to infiltrate Twitter because Twitter is a threat to them. They will come in, they will blackmail Elon Musk. Or if Elon Musk wants to continue with his business ventures and there are certain entities that have a different ideology, they may go to Elon Musk and say, hey, we need partial control over this company. We need to make sure that there's a standard and you're not going too far off the rails. That may also be another reason why Elon Musk still hasn't put certain people back on Twitter. He's put a lot of people back on Twitter, but not everyone, because he may ultimately know that to continue his business ventures, to continue what he's trying to pursue, and he's pursuing a lot of things, but let's say SpaceX, Twitter, all that, Tesla, EVs, he needs to keep certain interests happy, certain people happy. I'll give a very simplistic example, not that this is pertinent to Elon Musk in this situation. It might be, but I'm giving an example. Let's say a major bank who controls a lot of assets under management, they go to Elon, they say, we know that one of your companies is banking with us. We know that you do payroll, you do transactions. Now, we are going to kick you off unless you give us a partial agreement of political ideology based off your other business ventures to ensure that we keep you on our bank system. So banks are already doing this, by the way. There are banks who have cut people off and they've said, we need to understand what your political stance is, and then we'll let you back on. So this is really, and there's a lot of federal intervention with banks, the major banks. So this is, well, now we have fascistic territory, right? So this is unconstitutional if you have corporations working with governments in a negative fashion. The negative fashion is to remove individual rights from people. In this case, it's consumer choice, because if you are at the behest of a major bank, there's only a few major banks, and they're determining if you get to bank with them or not, but this is how you invest, this is how you put money aside in your savings, not that you're really saving anything because your dollar is getting deteriorated by inflation, and these big commercial banks are giving you 0.001% on your money. But just to bank with them, just to do simple transactions, to get a credit card, if they want you to align politically with their stance or close to their stance, you can't have any other political ideology. Even if you're not political yourself, you just don't believe that, babies should be harmed, or we should be going to underage kids and having them go through surgeries that are irreversible. If you don't align with a certain political ideology, they will remove you from the system and you can no longer operate in society. Now you can scale that because all the other banks can work together as an oligopoly and ensure that the same action is taken on you. If they go to Elon Musk and they say that, and he says, well, yeah, I'm a billionaire, but I'm one person. I'm part of the society. I have to work with other entities to achieve things. That is a way where he can be strong-armed, right? So there are different ways or different reasons why Linda Yesarino, this new Twitter CEO, may be in place here. The other reason is Elon Musk may partially align with their ideology. He's spoken a lot against the people on the left. He said that he's stayed the same politically, but the people on the left have gone further left, so it looks like he's on the right. And he's been called out by legacy media, mainstream media, a lot. He's no longer the person. If we go back in time 5, 10, 15 years, Elon Musk, amongst many other people, like even Donald Trump, these people were revered in society. Donald Trump was a billionaire playboy. He was everyone's friend, hanging out with rappers. Elon Musk, he was a great inventor. Everyone on the left and right liked him. He was creating things that would push society forward. Now that he's saying, I don't agree with X, Y, and Z, and this is my stance, even though it hasn't changed in 10 years, he is now the bad guy. Now, that's what we see on the surface. I keep saying that as a representative because we truly don't know what people are thinking behind the scenes. So Elon Musk may actually partially agree with the ideology of the WEF, for example, even though he's advocating for a lot of libertarian policies, let's say. And so there are a couple of perspectives here that we're analyzing. Is this person coming in day to day to alleviate Elon Musk of running basic operations that he doesn't need to be focusing on? He wants to focus on the technology, the back end side of Twitter, which is a positive thing. If he can convert Twitter to Platform X, where we can do payments, we can be creators and be monetized, we can have a calling and messaging system. We don't have to rely on other middlemen or other social media platforms. This is another outlet. that gives a lot of power to individuals. And right now, as individuals, we need more power because all of these conglomerates, all of these oligopolies and monopolies have so much power over the people that they can essentially cancel your way of making a living. If you make your money off one of these social media platforms or multiple social media platforms, and they don't like who you are, or they think that you're a threat to them, even though you may not see yourself as a threat, even though you're not really speaking out, but they just don't like what you're doing, they don't like who you're associated with, it could be any reason. This game is very convoluted. They could go to you, revoke your access, the bank could revoke your access, the payment processor could revoke your access, and now you can't make a living. So they are effectively removing liberty from you because there's no competition. When you introduce competition, now these firms, these companies have to compete to earn your ability to be on that platform. If there's no competition, they can do whatever they want. So Elon Musk, there's a few perspectives. Is he in partial alignment with them? Is there blackmail? Is he being strong-armed because he's trying to pursue a mission and he realizes he does have to subdue himself in some capacity to further his business ventures? We don't really know the answer here. Could we give this person a chance? Maybe this person from the WF is reformed. She's not going to do anything crazy with Twitter. She's not going to transform Twitter, or rather regress it back to what it was before, where they were censoring people left and right. They were censoring news. They were censoring certain information, and that was interference for the vast majority of the public, because now their term is visibility filtering, but they were restricting and suppressing information to people, and now those people can't disseminate ideas, right? I know this. Right now on Twitter, a lot of links are accessible. So, for example, you have a link, you share the link on Twitter, it's accessible. If you go to other social media sites and you post a link, and that link is not approved by their algorithm, and there are people setting the algorithm, because they don't like certain websites, they don't like, not like adult content, but just certain websites that are other people saying information. It could be a vlog, it could be video streaming. They will censor that site. They will censor that link. You can't share those links. Those links don't show up in the feed. So we do actively, there's some good with Twitter, but we want to make sure that Twitter's progressing, not regressing. We want to make sure of that with all of our social media platforms, but naturally, when you have state intervention and then you have also improper, like the state and people who are running these big tech media platforms, they both have improper ideologies. When you take both of these improper ideologies and they work together, the vast majority, 80-90% of these platforms, companies in general, let me say these platforms first and foremost, they're going to have an improper ideology and impose that ideology on the consumer. And even if you're not paying for these services, you're still the consumer because there's advertising, and ultimately your data is being collected. So I'm neutral, right? I'm not an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. I'm looking at what can Twitter become, and so far, so good for the most part. Like now, there is a chance for people who, you don't have to be libertarian, conservative, or Democrat. You don't have to be political at all. But just the fact that you have an outlet, you can go on a social media platform and say what you want to say. Maybe you're not going to say anything crazy, but you do have an opinion, right? And opinions are mocked, not even mocked. Opinions are suppressed nowadays. Just the fact that there is an outlet, that's a positive note. But now if we have other people coming from, I don't want to say the old guard, but people who are trying to control resources, control labor, control people, ultimately, what do people want? I say this all the time. Power, wealth, influence, resources, that's what people want. Status. So when you have people from malicious camps and they're coming in and they're willing to have collateral damage, which is individual rights, people in general, although physically you could be collateral, and they compromise platforms that are trying to change for the better, that is concerning. That's highly concerning, because the whole goal, the whole idea is to progress, not regress. And so we'll have to see what comes out of this. I'm neutral. I don't know what Linda will do. Hopefully this is just a minimal amount of, this is either Linda has made an agreement or had a change of heart with Elon Musk. Okay, I'll run the day-to-day. Or if it is something slightly malicious, hopefully it's not as bad as the alternatives, where Elon Musk, he acknowledges he has to run his other business ventures, and to make some progress, he has to compromise on certain things. Hopefully it's minimal, and we can still progress into a free and open society. Although when we look at all the other institutions that are around us in the United States of America and just the world in general, the future is very concerning.